Hello everyone, this is Jennifer Biedermann from Biedermann Jewelry. Welcome back to another video. What we're going to do today is we're going to make this bracelet. I have two out here to show you the difference. There's a lot of videos out there on YouTube about this stitch, but I wanted to show you because it's a flippy floppy stitch, and I want to show you how to keep it nice and sturdy if that's what you want, and how to dress it up at the end and put a clasp. So here are two bracelets. This is a size 11 seed bead and this is a size 8 seed bead. So I wanted to show you the difference. Now this stitch is called as a lot of people say it, the chenille stitch. However, how you do pronounce this word, it's called a chenille stitch. And chenille, how you say chenille in English, is caterpillar. So that's what it is. It's actually a caterpillar stitch, but it's French. It's chenille. Anyway, I find it very elegant, especially with these size 11 seed beads. It's a really interesting stitch, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to do a border also, because I think it looks a lot more professional looking when you have this border. It gives a nice finished look, and we're going to do the clasp as well. So materials are going to need for this. In this tutorial, I'm using 8 seed beads. I do prefer the 11s because it looks, up to me, more elegant with the 11s. But I want to show you the stitch. I'm going to use bigger seed beads for this. And the seed beads I'm using a gray Ceylon seed bead. It's a silver gray. And this is an 8, it's a Miyuki. This is also a Miyuki, but it is a silver gray metallic. So it's just a little bit darker. There'll be a little bit of a contrast there. Now, what else you're going to need? Of course, you're going to need a needle. I'm using a size 10 needle. You will be using a lot of thread for this. I would suggest, putting on your thread at least 2 yards or 2.5 yards. We're also going to be using some wire, and that's to go through the rope to keep its shape. So I have an 18 gauge here. Anything smaller than 18 gauge is just going to bend right out of shape really easily. So 18 gauge or larger. And I cut about 9 inches. I want a little bit more so that I can have something to grab onto when I make my loops. I am using for my ends some Swarovski pearls. These are 8mm pearls. You will need some tools for when we're wrapping twisting the wire into the loops there at the end. You're going to need 2 sets of pliers, so a chain nose, and I'm using a bent chain nose plier, but you can use 2 chain nose or 2 pliers. It's fine. You'll also need a cutter to cut your wire, and you will need a round nose plier to make the loops at the end. And I think I covered everything. No, I didn't. You'll also need a lobster claw. I'm using just a very small lobster claw. I didn't want to use a toggle clasp here because I just wanted a small little clasp at the end. And the same thing on this one. Okay, so get your materials together. We'll get started and see you in a bit. All right, so I've poured out the seed beads I'm using. Now we're going to start on this border here. This is the brick stitch, and then we're going to move on to the chenille stitch. I usually do the border with the color that my contrast color is going to be. So my contrast color is the darker grays here. And how we're going to start is we're going to pick up 4 contrast color seed beads. Bring it all the way down to the end, leaving yourself a tail, so just something to hang on to. We're going to cut it off later. And what you're going to do is just sew back up through 2 and pull through. And what this is going to do is just going to let the seed beads sit next to each other like this. Now I want to reinforce this. So I'm going to go back up these two right next to where my thread is coming out. Pull through, pull tight so they sit together. Mine kind of came apart, but here you're going back down. I'm out of focus. Back down and then back up. Like that. Pick up another 2 contrast color seed beads. Your thread is coming out here, creating a circle. You're going to come up through here and pull. So back down those 2 seeds beads that you just added. And we're going to repeat this so that we have 6 here. So I'm going to do that 3 more times. Pick up 2, go down these 2, and go up these 2, keeping everything nice and tight. Pick up 2, go up these 2, and down. So I've got 5, and I'm going to 5 rows, and I'm going to pick up my last set. Down and up. Now we are going to place this into a little circle. So I'm going to sandwich these 2 together like this. My tail is coming out here. My working thread is coming out here. I'm just going to sew up through these 2 seed beads to close the circle. And it's fiddly, yes, because we have not much to hold. We're going to go back down those 2 side seed beads. Now I want to be working away from my tail, so I'm going to sew up through the seed beads. So my tail is this way and my working thread is this way. So to start the stitch, we're starting with a plain herringbone. So I'm just going to hold what I can here, just like this. Here's my circle. I'm going to pick up my main color bead, and I'm going to, doesn't matter if you're going counterclockwise or clockwise. I guess I'm going to go clockwise, counterclockwise, I should say. And I'm just going to sew down the bead right next to it. And I'm going to pull, and then my 2 beads will be sitting on top. Just like that. I will sew up the bead, that base bead, right next to the what I just put on there. Oops. Turning. And I'm going to pick up 2 of my main color and go down next bead. You're doing everything in sets of 2s with herringbone. Now I'm coming down out of this bead. I'm going to want to come up this bead, and I'm going to be putting on my last set for this row. Going down 1 bead. Now we need to step up so that we can start a new row. And stepping up with herringbone is you go up that bead and then up the second bead. Now we're ready to start our new row. And this is how it changes. So it changes a little bit. We're stopping the herringbone. And now I'm going to pick up my contrast color. I'm picking up 1 bead. And I'm coming out of this bead. I'm sewing into the next bead next to it. And then the next bead. And pull. So you're going to have that 1 bead sitting in the middle. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Contrast color. Go into this bead, then the next bead. pull. Oh, I like this color combination. Turn, pick up a contrast color, one bead, go through the next bead, and now we're going to step up to start a new row. So you're going up through that single bead. Now it changes again. We're picking up our main color, 2 seed beads, going through the next single bead, picking up 2 seed beads, going through the next single bead, picking up 2 seed beads, going through the next single bead. We need to step up and we go through that bead so we can get in the middle of this little herringbone right there. That's it. And repeat. Pick up a contrast color, go through the very next bead, and then the next bead to get yourself in the middle. One single bead of your contrast, go through the next bead and the next. Single bead, go through that next bead, the next one, step up into that single bead. So this time you went through 3. And you're going to continue to the length that you want. Now, for a bracelet, usually most often the standard, the most popular length of a bracelet is about 7.5 inches. It's about what usually people wear. Sometimes larger, and sometimes people have very teeny tiny wrists and it's smaller. So you have to, the length here, let me just finish this row and I'll show you what to do. Going into the next. With the 8/0 seed beads, this is going to sew up really fast. The 11s, it takes a little bit longer. Okay. I mean, look how much we did. Just a few rows. Okay. Now, the length, you have to consider this part. Okay. This is about 1 3/4 inches. So 1 3/4 inches, I had to do this a length so that it is about 7.5. Now, when I put it on my wrist, it was like this much far apart. So just take your ruler and measure, and then you stop your weave there. Now, this type of weave, when you're done, you can actually stretch it out. It's like an accordion. It is so flippy floppy, this stitch. And I guess that's why they call it the chenille stitch, which is a caterpillar. It goes like up and down. I'll show you when I'm done. So get to the length you want, and then I'm going to show you how to finish it here, because it's a little bit different. You're going to have to reinforce, and then we're going to put the wire and the pearls on the end. So keep stitching, and I'll be back. I'll actually come and show you probably once I'm done a little bit to show you what the stitch looks like, and then I'm going to continue. Okay, so I'll see you back in a bit. Hi there, I'm back. I just wanted to show you the stitch, what it looks like with these two colors. I'm loving this color combination, this gray. I'm not a huge fan of this red and blue. This is more for my teenage daughter. I guess she could wear that. But this, I think, is really looking really good. Now, so let me just continue on. And by the way, I just did, this whole piece is like 2.5 inches. It took me all of 3 minutes. So this, like I said, this weave goes really, really, really fast. So I'm going to continue weaving, and then we're going to do the clasp. So I'm almost at the end. I wanted to show you something here. When I stretch this out, I have 6 inches. When I push it together, I've got 4 3/4 inches. See how it stretches? Look how airy this is. I mean, it's really, if I just made this as a bracelet like that, I mean, I like it more stiff. But this is, look at this weave. Caterpillar. See that? Anyway, let's continue. So I have the length I want. And now I'm just going to do the last row before we do the border on the end. So I'm going to pick up, I just added my, by the way, that noise you hear is Frankie boy. He's chasing his tail. That's something I've got to deal with. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, anyway, pick up 2 of your main color. And we're going to do the last row of this. Oh, he stopped. He's obsessed with his tail. Okay, now I've just done the last row. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be, you know what, just a second. I'm sorry, just a second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I put the crazy boy outside. Now, we're going to be doing the border over here. Let me just get this in focus. Okay. So I'm coming out of this bead. I've stepped up, okay? I'm going to pick up my contrast color. I'm picking up 2 beads this time, and I'm going into this bead here, and then I'm going into this bead. So instead of putting 1, I'm putting 2. Pick up 2 beads. I'm going into this bead and the next bead. Pull. Adjust your beads so they're sitting like that. Pick up 2 contrast colors. Go through the next bead right next to it, the next bead, and step up. Okay, so now I have this. I'm going to pick up 2 contrast colors. I'm going into this bead and I'm going up into this bead. Pull and place your beads so they're sitting like that. So we're just doing a herringbone again. Pick up 2 contrast colors, go into this bead, up into this bead, and pull. Pick up your last 2 beads, go into this bead. Now we are stepping up. We're going into this bead and up into this bead. All right, so we finished our row. We're not adding any more beads, but look, everything is pulling apart. We're going to put all that together. So this is what we're going to do. We're reinforcing. Go down the 2 beads. Go up the 2 beads next to it on the right. We need to attach these beads, so we're going to go down towards the left, down the 2 beads, and then up these beads again. So now these 2 beads are attached, and we're going to do that all the way around. So since these 2 are already attached, I'm going down these 2. I'm going, see how it's not attached? I'm going up these 2 to the right. And to attach them together, I'm going down to the left 2 beads. And then up again. 2 beads. These 2 are attached already, so I'm going to go down these 2 beads. I'm going up these 2 beads to the right. going down these 2 beads to the left to attach so that these 4 beads are together. Going up these 2 beads. Now, I have everything attached, but I really do want them sitting. I'm going to reinforce this again, so I'm just going to snake through. I'm going down. I'm going up. I'm going down and up. Just reinforcing. So now that I've gone all the way around, it's time to cut off my thread. So it's pretty well not going to come apart, but just to be safe, I'm going to weave down my piece and I'm following my thread path. Now, at any point, you can start tying off some half hitch knots, which right here, what you do is you just go under your thread, pull, not all the way, and go through that loop and pull. Now, a lot of beaders, they just weave, 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 and then they cut their thread. But you know what? I like to tie the knots. Following your thread path. And you could do this until you run out of thread or until you just feel comfortable that everything is nice and secure. So I'm going to tie another knot over here, go through making sure that it doesn't overlap a bead, because then you're going to see the thread. Follow your thread path. Now I'm pretty confident this isn't going to come apart because I reinforced the top quite a bit and I tied some knots. So you know what? I'm pretty comfortable there. Taking this off the needle, cutting my thread. Cutting my thread on the other end because I don't need it. Okay, so we have our piece. Let's measure this again. When I stretch it out, I've got 6.5 inches. But with the clasp I'm making, it's going to make it way too big for my wrist. So what we're going to do is take your wire. Let me just move out a little bit. Okay, so we're taking our wire. Now you're going to take a pair of pliers. You're going to go down about a 1.5 inches right here, approximate. Bend 90-degree angle. You have this. Take your round nose pliers. Now, this is important because it's going to determine the size of your loop. If I just do it on the end, I'm going to have a very teeny, teeny, tiny loop. So I want it a little bit larger, so I'm going to go about 3/4 in. The bend is there. I'm holding it right there. I'm taking my wire. I'm going to manipulate it with my hands and just bring it around. Now I'm twisting my pliers and I'm going to pull that end there, and this is what you end up with, a perfect loop. Now, I'm going to take my chain nose pliers. I'm going to hang on to this end tight. I'm taking my other pliers here and I'm going to make 2 wraps because I don't want too many wraps showing, and just make them nice and close together. Just like that. I'm going to take my flush cutters and I'm going to cut as close as I can. But that wasn't very close. Just a second. Let's cut that again. Okay. but I still have that piece sticking out. So what you really want to do, this is important because it's going to snag on clothes and it could scratch somebody's wrist. So you definitely want to push that down. So just squish it down, go around, make sure that it's, and run your finger across it and make sure that it doesn't snag anything. Now I'm going to take my Swarovski pearl. I'm going to put it on my wire. I'm going to take my rope that I just created and I'm going to put it on here. Now this part's important. So let me just fish that on. Now you have a few options here depending on the size that you made. You can push it all the way in, but then look at the weave. It doesn't look that great. I just want it to sit naturally. I don't want it stretched out because that's too much. But you're just going to set it naturally. And what we're going to do before we do the other side is we're just going to bend this into shape. Because if I do this side while it's straight and then I bend it, I may see some wire here. So I want to make sure that I don't see any wire. So I'm just going to bend that into shape. Doesn't have to be exactly in shape, just so that I have the curve. Now see this thing, and then whoop, when I push it, look how much I have. So really test it on your wrist. And that's what I'm going to do. Let me test it. So I got it on my wrist. I want this piece to be all the way up. See? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it right there. The weave is not bunched up. You don't want it bunched, but you want it kind of like a nice tension and tight, but not too tight, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now I'm going to put the other pearl on the other side. I'm still keeping my finger on that spot where I want it. And check it again. So if I push too much, it's going to squish up the weave, which I don't want. So I'm going to keep it nice and checking it. All right, now I don't want too much space here. So if I take my pliers and I grab it here and I bend it, I'm going to have too much space. I don't want that. So I'm just going to bend it. Not a lot of space, but if I push it down, see, because now I have a lot of room. Now I'm just going to take my round nose pliers and go where I was before. And if you need to mark your pliers, do that. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's about here. And I'm going to turn this around, turn my pliers, turn it around. Perfect loop. Grab my chain nose pliers. I'm going to grab the end and I'm going to do 2 turns. I really like this color combo. Okay. I'm just going to push that down. I'm going to grab my flush cutters, get as close as I can, cut the end. I have something sticking out. I need to take my chain nose and push that in. Now we will put it into shape. And it's perfect length. Okay, now let me get some of my jump rings, and that's one thing I forgot to tell you. You need jump rings. You need one jump ring. I'll be right back. I'm just going to pause it. All right, so I have my jump ring. This looks like a 16 gauge. You can use what you want, but I want something solid. I don't want my lobster claw falling off. And I'm going to just open this jump ring, twist, put this on, and then put my lobster claw. And I picked the wrong size jump ring. I will get a smaller one. All right, I got another jump ring. It's an 18 gauge, not a 16 gauge, because I need to get my little lobster claw in there. Okay, now be careful how you put this on, because how you manipulate, I want it to go on like this, where that clasp is sticking out. Pop it on there. Very important how you close jump rings. Rock it back and forth until it touches. And you want it closed properly. That's a perfect close. So we are done. Let me close this up. This was a fast project. Let me tell you, this is like a total, if you continue and you don't stop, 10 minutes. I like fast projects. Let me move out a little bit. So there you have it. Here's your size 8s, your size 8s, and your size 11s. And I'm really liking this color. So there you have it. There's your tutorial, the chenille stitch, as you pronounce it. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And when you give me a thumbs up, it just makes it easier for other people to find. That's all. And if you think someone else might like this tutorial, you can share it. Please leave me some comments if you have any questions. I answer everybody, and in a timely manner on top of it. So if you're in the middle of a project, I'm checking all the time. So I am here to help you. And don't be shy. Please ask me any question you want. I'm here for you. So I will see you back on the next tutorial. I had fun today, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great day.